want Nick! We want Nick!
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Nicholas J. Fuentes.
Good
evening. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. Welcome to the 2014 Speech Team Regional Performance.
Through 2023 to 2024, Fuentes remained active online but faced growing scrutiny. Reports linked him to sexual misconduct scandals with his movement, allegations he denied. In November 2024, he was arrested on a misdemeanor battery charge after a physical altercation with an activist. A month later, an armed man appeared at his residence. Police shot and killed the intruder. Fuentes described it as an assassination attempt. By the end of 2024, his movement had fractured and he continued producing online content for a loyal core audience, especially on Rumble. Chapter 9, Beliefs and Ideologies. Before I continue, there is one very particular incident which Nick Fuentes said was one of the reasons why he became public enemy number one, where someone recorded him at a particular training center where he was unaware of someone recording him, and then the video went viral and he became public enemy number one.
Remember the context.
How bad is the video? Is it appropriate
You
to
could
just
pull
show?
it up, yeah.
Rob, can you pull it up? I'm actually curious on how bad the video is.
Funny search query. I'm not sorry because this is a political attack. This is how political control is maintained.
So when you go a week ago and you're like, you don't need to do it, dropping the N-word. How is your approach going to change moving forward?
I don't think there's much that needs to change.
I've seen the tweets, I've seen the videos.
I don't platform trolls.
He did not state that he regrets saying what he said, but he states that he was recorded without his knowledge and approval, and so he doesn't see how that was fair to him. Let me know in the comment section what you think about what he says about this incident. His beliefs and ideology. Fuentes calls himself a Christian nationalist. He promotes traditional Catholic values, opposes feminism and LGBT rights, and supports strong national borders. He argues for a homogeneous American identity rooted in Christianity. Remember when we started this video, I told you that he grew up in an area which was very conservative, very white, and when he moved out of his little community to the big city where he went to study in the university, that's when he was met with the flourishing and growing mix of the big area, where he found out that America in those areas has been really diversified, which according to him scared him, and he wondered in 50 years will he be able to see communities like the one he comes from, which is still very white and conservative, will he be completely mixed like the big cities he's seen.
Immigration is the issue of 2016. We're talking about illegal immigration, legal immigration, and we're talking about the big topic is the demographic change. America was a white country. It's becoming a non-white country through immigration. And we're talking about the impact that that's going to have. What does it really mean for us? Yes, they're going to vote Democrat, probably. Will they vote Democrat forever? Yeah, they're not quite like us. Can they ever be like us? What does it mean to be white versus black, or white versus any other race for that matter? And we kind of get into the idea, I guess maybe the big idea is the politics of identity. That politics maybe is less about, whereas libertarians are obsessed with individualism, which is an abstract concept, the individual as relates to the state. This is abstract. We're now talking about the politics of identity, which is concrete, which is particular, not general, not abstract, but concrete and particular. You have white people and black people. They come from specific places, and they bring with them their genetics, they bring with them their culture, their way of doing things. And we're saying we less believe in conservatism than we believe in America specifically. And that was kind of, I guess, the big pivot I made. And that's why I started my show, which was called America First, which was this nationalistic show as opposed to libertarian or conservative.
Okay.
So he is one of those people who opposes interracial relationships.
Your opinion of me, I'm Middle Eastern, married to a white girl. Or do you think it's better off for America to minimize more of me coming to America.
America is no longer America. Mass migration is changing what America is. And I want to conserve what America historically has always been.
Well, that's a little bit, that's a little bit harsh.
Well, I'm not in favor of interracial marriages. That's against my values. I want to have a white wife. I want to have white kids. That's important to me.
That's kind of racist.
I agree.
Okay.
And that is one thing he and Candice had a little spat on, because he was telling Candice he does not appreciate her having an interracial relationship. Then sometimes Nick Fuentes sits on his podcast and said there is such tension between him and Candice Owens. I don't know if he realizes that Candice is married or he's just trying to rile her up. I don't know. There is something about Candice and Nick. Something happened when they had the interview they had. That interview, after that interview, Nick has not been the same when it comes to Candice. There is just this tension with him. He's constantly talking about it. Even though Candice has spoken about it once on Tucker Carlson's show, but
I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like, I truly, we almost said, we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. That's how good of an experience I had.
Clearly it's
and then it was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think that
could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's what you're saying, where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not. I can say
why is he attacking jokes? He could stand up and say, I actually know. I've got the receipts. My wife was killed in Syria. You had to take that guy out. And Nick Fuentes, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, is participating in a super PAC to bump off Joe Kent.
She hasn't really mentioned it, but Nick keeps mentioning it, and every time he has a new theory. Sometimes it's sexual tension, sometimes it's animosity, sometimes it's, I don't know what is going on there. Let me know what you think about what is going on there with that. It's very strange to me. However, civil rights organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League classify him as a white nationalist and an anti-Semitic extremist, citing his repeated Holocaust revisionism and racist statements. Fuentes rejects these labels, claiming his views are patriotic and religious rather than racial. But also, Nick, while on Candice Owens' podcast, he accepted that yes, he's racist. If that's what she thinks he is, because he prefers having pure genes of white people marrying amongst themselves, black people marrying among themselves, so that they don't mix things, and he doesn't want strangers, illegal aliens coming in and mixing up what the American community should look like. And he said he doesn't mind being called that if that's what people think. So it's very interesting to see those contradictions there, I don't know, or nuances to his views. Chapter 10, Legacy and Influence. Nick Fuentes' rise epitomizes the transformation of far-right activism in the digital age. A shift from anonymous message boards to live stream personalities blend irony, media savvy, and radical politics. Despite deplatforming, Fuentes' influence endures in the form of Groyper activism and the rhetoric of America First nationalism that has seeped into corners of youth conservative politics. Whether viewed as a dangerous extremist or a provocateur challenging political orthodoxy, Fuentes represents a generation shaped by the internet, fluent in memes, defiance, and media spectacle. And if you ever wake up one day and you feel like you want to just damage your brain cells or just make your mind confused of what age or where you are, go under one of Nick Fuentes' shows and just watch the live chart or watch what his followers say under those charts. It's the kind of things you feel like you cannot even write that as a script and it'll be approved, because people would think it's too extreme, but that is what his followers type under his shows. In my research for this, I had to watch a couple of this guy's shows, and going through the comment section, his live stream comments was really a mental challenge. It was really mentally stressful to go through. It was I couldn't believe it. But then those are people who have found a leader who, I don't know if he knows that they are extreme, but he perpetuates or allows them because they are part of his following and they make him relevant, or he is the same, because sometimes he sounds really like they say, every broken clock is right twice a day. Sometimes he will be on point with some issues, and sometimes it's completely off the chains.
A girlfriend, never having sex with a woman, really makes you more heterosexual, because honestly, dating women is gay. Having sex with women is gay.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
And that is the thing with these extreme guys who are very on extremes with thoughts. Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, the Tucker Carlsons, and I don't know, they usually have this way of making you so confused with their thoughts. All right, epilogue. By 2025, Nick Fuentes remains a polarizing figure, banned from most mainstream platforms, yet still commanding attention from followers and critics alike. His story, from a suburban Catholic boy reading free to choose to a lightning-rod symbol of digital extremism, illustrates how ideology, technology, and media can fuse into a secular, deceptive force in modern politics. Nick Fuentes has stated that many people out here paint him to be bad, and they are also pushing people to ban him. And also, when you look at how much some mainstream media platforms and even some reports are usually quoting him when they are trying to state some things, you realize that this guy has a pull. Somehow, no matter how much he is deplatformed, he still has a pull from the places where he's hiding. He has a huge pull, which he's able to come out and make people reference him. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing remains on context. But at the end of the day, everybody has a voice, and those voices comes with ideas, and every idea has a massive impact on the people who stumble on those ideas and listen to them. And at the end of the day, what their reaction is tells you what the person who gave out those ideas, the spirit they left they gave the ideas out there with. And you just need to look at the fruits to understand what kind of tree bore them. Tell me what you think about Nick Fuentes in the comment section. Did you find it very interesting that his father is Mexican or half Mexican, and he is completely against people coming into the country, and he's talking about illegal aliens? Because I think if we were to go by the pure American breed, maybe he might not be living in America. He will need to leave because he's not completely American. He has Italian roots, he has Mexican roots. So he cannot really claim that American he thinks he wants to claim. Or maybe he's claiming his America by birth. I don't know what it depends on where his mind is.
Whiteness has been a topic of debate for years, both among his critics and even within his own movement. Fuentes calls himself a white American, but the real question is he even white? In this video, I'm going to answer that question once and for all using schizo-race science. We'll break down his ancestry, map out who he's actually genetically closest to, and compare him to groups across Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas. Let's start with his DNA. Based on his public 23andMe results and his own statements,
I said I'm Italian, Mexican, and Irish. I said I have ancestry from Naples, Bari, Calabria, Mexico, and Ireland. I said
Fuentes is a little over half Southern Italian. Since he's 1/4 Mexican, the broadly Southern European part in his results almost certainly includes Spanish. Beyond that, he's about 15% Native American, around 13% Irish, and a small amount of Sub-Saharan African. This breakdown is an accurate estimate, and even just 15% Amerindian DNA makes a significant impact because of how genetically different Amerindians are from Europeans. Southern Italians make up most of his ancestry, and historically, they weren't seen as white in the US. They faced discrimination and were considered racially distinct from Anglos. Culturally, Southern Italy has long been a crossroads. Its music, food, and marketplaces show centuries of exchange with Arabs and North Africans.
This is Arab way, very loud.
It's so small.
But this isn't just cultural. Genetically, Southern Italians carry significant Middle Eastern and North African influence. This came from Phoenician traders, Greek colonists, Roman-era slaves from the East, Arab and Berber conquests in Sicily, and later. So, is Nick Fuentes white? By the Anglo-American definition, no. By his own definition, which excludes Jews, no again, since Southern Italians are genetically closer to Jews than to Anglos. And if whiteness means purely European, then even 15% Amerindian puts him far outside that boundary. By the very standards Fuentes applies to others, his claim to whiteness collapses. His ancestry shows whiteness isn't biology, it's a moving social label, and when applied to him, it falls apart. And here's the twist. If we define white as European, then Ashkenazi Jews, Lebanese Arabs, and some North African populations are genetically more similar to Europeans than Nick Fuentes is. That's the irony of his identity. So the final answer? By the rules Fuentes applies to everyone else, Nick Fuentes isn't white. The identity he built his movement around collapses the moment we look at his own DNA.
Well, until next time. Bye.
And the only reason that I'm telling you this now is because if anything happens to me, this is what you need to do. The project of the free people of America, the project of American sovereignty, of Christian nationalists, of anybody that cares about our independence, as the 1776 movement, as the new American Revolution, is to, just as they started newspapers and campus groups and book clubs and published books and made movies, we need to expose what they are doing in the same way. And the reason I'm telling you all this now is so that you can finish it if I can't. Because I won't even let death stop me.